Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. I'm so glad you're joining me. I have 5 fun cards to share with you today, and we're going to do the 5-step format that I've been doing, but these are going to be really easy cards. We're using some pattern papers and some chipboard stickers to make our cards today. In fact, the only thing that I'm going to be bringing in is some embellishments. So assembly line style, we're going to go real easy, and we'll use our chipboard stickers for our focal point. For our home panel, I'm using the pattern papers. We're going to be using the cut apart sheets in here. I've created videos before where I make quick and easy cards with the cut apart sheets. So we're going to be using this sheet to make our 5 cards. I'll just pick out the ones that I like, so I'll trim these down. And then for our sentiment, I think there are some sentiments actually in our chipboard stickers that I can use. But there's also a sheet of paper in here. It's this one here. Let me find it for you. That I thought would make great for sentiments. So that's working out for us. And then all of the pattern papers in here are going to make great backgrounds for my cards today. And there's some pretty fabulous pattern papers in here. You know, I'm going to use that one because I love the way that looks. And then I also love wood grain. We'll use this. And then the plaid is really pretty too. It's pink plaid. Can't go wrong with pink. We have some bokeh effect. And we have some more plaids here. So there's actually, I'm showing you just one sheet, but there's actually 2 sheets of each design with 12 sheets in total. And also on this sheet, if you want to cut these out too, these make great home panels also. But we're going to be using the pattern paper for our background. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to go really quick and easy. And so I'm going to trim out my cut aparts, I'm going to trim out my greetings and my background papers, and we'll jump in and get started. Okay, what I meant by assembly line style is all the cards are going to be basically the same. Okay, step number 1 is our focal point, and for my focal point on all five of my cards today it's going to be the chipboard stickers. Okay, and I did pop all of them up with Spellbinders pop-up foam. Okay, since they are stickers, it was easy. I just trimmed down a piece and put some foam behind it. Okay, these are the smaller ones, but on the larger die cut chipboard pieces, I put pop-up foam behind on all of our cards today. Okay, step 2 is our home panel. Assembly line style, all of our home panels are going to be the same cut aparts. Well, not the same, but you know what I mean, they're all going to be cut aparts. Some of them I'm going to add white cardstock to. Some of them I will just create a matte background with. Some of them I won't add any background to. But so that will be our home panel. Okay, step number 3 is our greeting. I did use a few of our chipboard stickers, and then I also used some greetings from that pattern paper that had the typewritten sentiments. So that will be our sentiments and our greeting. Okay, step number 4 will be our background. For my background, I trimmed down the 12 by 12 sheets of pattern paper. Okay, step 5, we're bringing in some white twine, and then I'm also going to bring in some, since it's fall, I thought we'd bring in some color mix gold gems. Okay, so pretty easy assembly line steps. So let's jump in with this card. For card number 1, we have the, 2 mushrooms and 3 of the smaller like icon shapes, and what we're going to do is add them to our home panel. And since I put pop-up foam behind here, I do have to add glue. I use pop-up foam because I can use all of my thin pieces that are my scrap pieces. We can use the scrap pieces. Okay, I had to grab another one of my little leaves because I have little kitty cats who like to run across my desk. So I had to grab another one. And there we go. So now we have little icons in each one of these little, the fall little color palette. Okay, that's our focal point. And then for my home panel, what we're going to do is just take this cut apart. I'm going to add some glue behind here, and I'm going to place it wonky on my cut apart. That's all there is to my home panel. For my greeting, my sentiment, I'm going to add some glue. This is actually one of the chipboard stickers. I'm going to replace it over Fall Vibes. I'm just going to layer it right over the top. And that will be my greeting. I put glue behind my background pattern paper. Now this one, I do want to mention that for this pattern paper I went 4 squares across, 5 squares down. Okay, so we have a little bit of a larger gap on the top and bottom versus the sides. I just wanted to keep the integrity of the pattern. Okay, and then I am going to take this panel where I'm going to pop it up with foam tape. But before we do that, I'm going to bring in my twine. I'm going to wrap it around my card base and tie a bow off to the left with it. I'm going to wrap it around twice. Then I'm going to take my home panel and we're just going to crisscross it right across the top. And then we're going to bring in our gems and embellish this pretty card. And that's a quick and easy card number 1. Now we're going to move along to our second card project. For this we have some cameras and a radio. Okay, and then I also have the little hearts here for my focal image. For my home panel, we're going to trim this piece down a little bit. Let me see. Wonderful. And then I'm going to mat this on some white cardstock. Now we're going to take our chipboard stickers and we are going to layer these right over the existing one on the cut apart. Oops, if we get it the right way. We'll glue this down. And then we'll glue our camera. The camera's a little bigger than the one that's on here. So I'm going to overlap it a little bit, just so you can see that candle. Lovely. If you even wanted to, there is a little pencil in the sticker, the cut aparts that you can layer right on top also, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, for my greeting, I'm going to be using our pattern paper, and I'm just going to trim down. How about Happy Fall Days? Lovely. We have these little hearts that we're going to add up here in this area here. We're going to add some twine to the very bottom. And then to go over the bow, I'm going to use this little chipboard sticker. And we're just going to layer that right over the bow. Like so. And then I'm going to put foam tape behind here. And then we're going to place this on our card base, which I put my background. My background size measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, so I have a little bit of a white border around it, and I used the camera pattern paper. This is going to go right here. And then we are just going to embellish with some more of those gold gems. We're just going to add a few. I had put the gems on the clock element and some down here in the center of the flowers, and that finishes that card. Pretty quick and easy. Now we're going to move along to our next card. We have the little clipboard that was on our chipboard. I didn't put any foam tape behind here. Now we're going to be using the sweater as our focal point, but you can see the sweater is slightly smaller than the sweater that's on our cut apart. Okay, so to fix that, we're going to just doctor this up a little bit. I'm going to add the clipboard so it's hanging over the side a little bit, and then I'm going to add some glue behind our chipboard sweater, and we're going to layer it right over the top. And then I have the little winter cap. We're going to add some glue behind here, and then we're going to tuck this up on top here. Now I went ahead and trimmed down this panel, and I trimmed it to 2.5 inches wide by 3 3/4 inches tall. Okay, and I just layered these on here. This is off-centered, but that's okay. We're going to cover it anyway. So I'm going to take this, we're going to add some glue behind here, and we're going to tack this down. So now we have a white mat around here. I have my greeting. My greeting is actually the same pattern paper that we used for our background. I did pop it up with foam tape, and I'm going to cover up the greeting that was on that cut apart. Basically, we're using the cut apart for this, just for the pattern paper. I like the smaller bokeh for this. So there is, I better straighten that out a little bit. Okay, I did put foam tape behind this home panel, and we're going to just adhere this at an angle. Place that on our card base. I actually found that other leaf that I was looking for, so I'm going to use it on this card. And we're going to place it down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to tie a bow with my twine. Place that bow down here, and I think I need to add a little bit more glue to that lost leaf. Put it down here. Lovely. And then we're going to add some gems. I can't resist. I am going to bring in my glazing glue, and I'm going to go over this heart on the sweater with the glazing glue. And that finishes that card. For my fourth card, we are going to use this beautiful bouquet. I did put my pop-up foam behind here. We're going to add some glue behind here, and then we're going to tack this over this real pretty bouquet. We're just going to make it a little bit larger, like so. And then in the center of the flowers, I did add the buttons that were in our chipboard sheet. So now we have a little extra dimension on there. That's all there is to that. Now, I do have my greeting that we're going to add to the very bottom using a chipboard sticker. So my greeting will say Fall Archives. And I'm going to just place it underneath here. Lovely. And I'm going to bring in my white gel pen, and I'm going to add some faux stitching around this cut apart here. I guess I could have did this before I added all of my chipboard stickers, but no worries. I think the faux stitching is going to go really well with the buttons because they actually look like they're really threaded. Lovely. I think this is, if you don't have a white gel pen, I think any kind of black marker or black gel pen would work because of the black that's in here and then in the center of the buttons. I think that would work too. Okay, I have my background panel. This is the wood grain. We're going to adhere this to the front of our card base. And then I'm going to take that white twine. I'm going to go through the top of my card base here and just tie a bow off to the left. And then I'm going to take out my home panel. I did pop it up with some foam tape. This is going to go right in the center here. We'll add a few gems in our background. And my bow is being unruly. I may have to bring in a glue dot. Okay, and then that will finish off that card. For this card, for my focal image, we have this little plaid leaf, and then I have the apple and the pear. Okay, we also have this cut apart was actually four, what do they call that? 4 swatches wide, but I trimmed one section off. So we are actually a swatch panel that is 3 by 4. And then we can use this for another project. I'm going to mat this on some white cardstock. We'll add our leaf right up here on the top. And then we can add our little pear. Maybe we'll tuck the pear under here. We'll add the pear here and then add the apple on top. There we go. Like the mold of the red. With the other cut apart, I left the green border on here. I trimmed that off for this one, and I picked its fall, y'all. We're just going to remove the release paper off of the foam tape here. And I'm going to add it straight across this bottom piece. Lovely. And then we have our background panel. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to our card base. Now that we have this adhered, I popped this panel up with some foam tape, and then we're going to place this to the left. Lovely. I tied a bow with some more of that white twine, and I'm going to use a glue dot, and we are going to secure it to the top of our leaf here. And then I have my last green button from our chipboard sticker that I'm going to add right over that bow, just like that. We're going to finish this off with a few of our gems, and then that will finish off my 5th card today. It took no time at all using pattern papers and cut aparts. Okay, we have this cute little swatched card. So cute. We have our little camera and our radio card. We have our floral card. We have our little plaid card. And then we have our sweater weather card. So 5 cards in a flash. Super fast cards using some 12 by 12 pattern papers and some cut aparts and chipboard stickers. These are so much fun to create. If you're like in a creative rut, this is my favorite thing to do. It's just go through pattern papers and use chipboard because there's no inks involved. There's no stamping, no die cutting. Just the pattern paper and the cut aparts do the work for you. So thanks so much for joining me. I wish you a lovely day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.